Hey, what's up, guys? How we doing? So today we're going to look at Yasiel Puig's hitting mechanics. I've gotten a ton of emails and YouTube comments on him. He's really come onto the scene and just destroyed the baseball. He has unbelievable power. He's hit for a good average. He's got a cannon in the outfield. He does everything really on the baseball field at such a young age. And people want to know how he's doing it at the plate. So today we're going to look at a couple of the things that he does, talk a little bit about them, see if we can get some of you guys out there to be able to incorporate a few of his movements into your swing. So the first thing we'll look at and talk about is I want to look at his back leg and the way he uses his back leg. The first thing you're going to see when he makes this load to get ready to hit is he's going to load up against his back leg, and he's not going to sway over his back leg. And this is a move that gets confused with a lot of young players, because a lot of young players hear that you want to get back and load back. So what a lot of young players do is when they get back, they sway over their back leg so that their back leg is very vertical and very straight, and the weight is all over the back leg. So the head will be someplace like this, and the player will be straight up and down. And you're not going to see that in Puig's swing, and you're not going to see that in 99% of Major League players' swings. Instead, what you're going to see is it's this weight transfer and this gather back against the back leg, but not a sway over the back leg. And if you look at the angle of his back leg, what you're going to see is when he loads and when he gets a little bit of weight back, from here he just starts to collect back a little bit, and he's going to lift his front foot to begin the stride. So he's not swaying over the back leg. And right here, when he's about to move, you're going to see the angle of his back leg is more at this angle instead of straight up and down and completely vertical. And what you're going to see is the knee is going to be inside the foot, and the back hip is going to be inside the knee. And when I look at young players again, a lot of players, the knee is over the foot, the back hip is over the knee, and we're in like this stacked position that's not a very good position to move our bodies back towards the pitcher and make a positive linear move. So that's the first thing that I wanted to talk about is how do we do this load? How do we do this loading action? And what do we do with the weight? How do we collect it over the back leg? Remember, it's against the back leg. It's not up on top of or stacked above the back leg with this sway. And it's going to be like a pitcher. A pitcher, when he's going to drive and move down the mound, he's going to be more at this angle right here instead of the straight up and down angle. So that's the first thing that you're going to see. The second thing with the back leg that I wanted to talk about was the straightening of the back leg. And this is another thing that young players get confused. And a lot of young players that I work with have collapsed back legs, they have really excessively bent back legs, and they never allow their knee or their back leg to straighten at all. What you're going to see most young kids when they go to move is they're going to have a really, really bent back leg, and they're going to land in a stiff front leg. And it's almost the opposite. I don't like to go overboard with young players because they don't at first understand it and they don't believe it. But what you're going to see in most players is a straightening of the back leg. So you'll see here the back leg is bent, and as he kind of gets his backside in position and moves the weight against it, and now he's going to move back towards the pitcher for a linear move, you can see this straightening of the back leg. And if you go slow down any major league hitter, most major league hitters, you're going to see this. I talk a lot about Pujols doing this because Pujols has this really excessively bent back leg in his stance. But when he makes his move towards the pitcher, he straightens the back leg, and what that does is it puts the body in position to drive in the move, but it also puts the front hip, it closes the front hip and puts the front hip on the pitcher, and it puts you in a better position once you land. So we'll go ahead and watch it, and here's the move right here. So it's a bent back leg. He starts to straighten his back leg, and you can see if you watch his front hip, this is what happens when you straighten the back leg. It's going to put the front hip in position to move. And again, it's a lot like pitching mechanics, where the side of the butt or the side of the hip needs to be on the pitcher, and it needs to move. So that's the back leg portion of the swing so far that I want to get into. The second thing is I want to get into this linear move, because again, a lot of great hitters do it, a lot of big league hitters do it, but young kids are taught to never do it, never move. You got to stay in one spot. You can't go anywhere. And it's hurting a lot of players. So different players have different moves. Some players have big moves, like a Yasiel Puig. He has a pretty big move, like a Hanley Ramirez. There's a lot of guys that have big moves. And there's some players that have smaller moves. But everyone has a move. Everyone has a linear move. Whether it's a huge linear move or a little bit of a smaller linear move, they all have it. So we'll watch Puig's move, just for example. And what the move is going to do for us, first let's watch it. So here's the move. Here's the linear part of the swing. And again, if I get him back and I just take this and I draw a little circle around his head, now what most coaches at younger levels are going to say is you can't move anywhere. But if you watch 99% of big leaguers, they never don't move anywhere. They always move somewhere. Again, some move more than others, but they all move. And there's the move right there. So he's loading the weight up against his back leg. He's put his back leg in a good position by straightening out his back knee. It puts his front hip on the pitcher, and now he's going to move himself, make an aggressive linear move, and land. So what this move is going to do for us, it does a couple of things. First, it gives us a little bit of momentum. It gives us something to hit with. And in any sport, you're going to do this. You're going to make a move, whether you're taking a slap shot or whether you're throwing a punch or whether you're throwing a baseball. It happens in every sport, and it happens in baseball. Hitting is an athletic movement, and a lot of young players, a lot of coaches at younger levels try to take all the athleticism away. If you want to hit for more power, if you want to have a better swing, you have to be athletic, and you have to let all of these things work together. Hitting's really about synchronizing all of these movements together and having them work at the right time, one after another after another. When you put it all together, boom, you get great, incredible bat speed, and that's what you see with major league players. So it gives us momentum. It helps us get off of our backside a little bit and transfer our weight. And probably most importantly, it helps create some tension in the body, some separation. And that's where you get a lot of power. That's where you see power increase tremendously. I've taken a lot of young players. We haven't increased strength. Obviously, strength training is a big part, but I'm talking about I can take a player and in one session where he didn't get any stronger, he didn't get any bigger, he didn't get any faster, just by moving the body a little bit differently, able to increase bat speed by a whole lot. And it's just by the way we put our body in certain positions, the way we move our body, and the way we sync up all the movements. And you can increase bat speed a lot by doing this. So I know we're hitting on a lot of stuff. Let's break it down a little bit. So we have this linear move where we're getting something to hit with, and we're able to create tension, separation. You've probably heard of separation a lot in hitting, and it's a big topic, and it's a big part of power production and creating power and creating something to hit with. And it's creating this tension inside your body to be able to unleash more bat speed and more power. So what it is when you do all the things we talked about in the first few steps, and now we begin to move ourselves, what you're going to see is a stretch of, if we draw this right here, so if we put a line, let's say we attached a rubber band from the front side of the hitter to the hitter's hands. What you're going to see major league players do is they're going to stretch this distance. And it's important. It's not just about stretching the distance, but it's when we stretch it, how we stretch it. So when you see the hitter begin to move forward right here, you're going to see a stretch of this line. So as the hitter moves forward, the hitter's hands are going to set back. We call it walking away from your hands. And what it does is it increases this line, it increases the distance, but it really increases the tension inside the body. And now if you stop it right here, and I were to draw this line again, you can see how the line has really increased. So the hands are basically in the same spot, but the body has moved forward. And that's creating the tension. So here are the hands starting here. Here's the front foot. The hands set back as he moves. You keep them back, and when you land, now you've created tension. And you can see that the length, there's a lot of things that we can really go into here, but you'll see a lot of things when you see this. So you increase the tension in the body. You'll see that the angle of the front arm, you get length in the front arm. So if you take the front arm angle, let's say it's around 90% or so, and you're going to see when hitters land to hit, they go from, say, a 90-degree angle or whatever angle it is that they start. They always end up with a larger angle. So now we're looking at a much larger angle than 90%. So we're increasing length in our lead arm, and this whole tension aspect is, you can really see it if you watch the hitter's jersey. And what you're going to see is here, there's no tension. If you look at his jersey, it's sitting regularly. But as he moves and stretches and gets this stretch in the body, you can see before he unleashes it, you can see how tightly the jersey is pulled. And if you just think of that as his body, think of it if he didn't have a shirt on, and this stretch across the body, this big stretch that you're getting, this tension that you're creating. Think of it as a rubber band. If I take a rubber band and I put one part of the rubber band on my thumb and I pull back with my other hand and I let it go, the further I pull it back, the more tension, the more energy that we're storing in that rubber band. And then when I release it, you have more power, you have more speed, you're going to create more bat speed. If I pull it back not as far and let it go, well, obviously we haven't stored as much energy. If we pull it back and then we shrink the distance, shrink it, and then we let it go, which a lot of players do, again, you're decreasing energy. You're decreasing the energy that you can store in the elastic. But we're trying to create and store energy in our body so that we can release it at the proper time. So we're stretching, creating tension, 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 boom. Now the front foot lands, we release it, and you create a ton of bat speed. Another move, tough move to learn, move that's not taught a lot at youth levels, not taught a lot in high school, probably not taught a lot in college, but it's a move that if you watch major league players, they all have this move built into their swing. And it's one of the reasons why they're making millions and millions of dollars. It's one of the reasons why they're in the major leagues. It's because whether they were taught this move or whether they just learned it on their own, whatever it is, a lot of them might not even know they do it, but the fact is that they do it. And that's how you create a whole lot of bat speed, is this idea of building tension and then releasing it. So those are some main points, some things that Puig does great, that other players in the big leagues do great. We could keep going on forever. We can look at how by moving ourselves, by creating this tension, this linear move, by putting the back leg in a good position, now we land in a good athletic position. We're not landing. What I see a lot of young players do is they land with the back leg still straight. They haven't moved their body at all. And their front leg is going to be more at this angle. So they're all weight back, spinning. You're not going to see that with major league players. You don't see that with Puig. Again, you see him, and what you're going to see most guys do is when they land in this more of a balanced, even position. They're going to land with a slightly bent front knee, not a stiff front knee, and that's another misconception with younger hitters, is younger hitters see at contact that hitters are with a straight front knee and they've stiffened it out. But when you land, you can't land with a straight or stiff front knee. You need to land in a more athletic position on the front side. You'll see a lot of hit players, they're going to land more athletic, and they're going to land and more of this bent knee position. And the reason they do that is twofold. For one, it allows them to stay on an off-speed pitch a little bit better. So if you land in a bent knee and the ball's not there yet, well, the knee just continues to stay bent, or you kind of compress on that front side, and then you stiffen up when you want to. Players that land in a stiff front leg and they start to rotate early, well, they can't stay on an off-speed pitch. So a lot of players think it's timing, when a lot of it is mechanics. You can have the best timing in the world, but if you get a pitch that you're not looking for, some players are able to stay back on that pitch, keep their hands back, and it's because of how they land in this front side. If we watch Puig, he lands with a slightly bent knee, and now as he turns, you can see that that allows us to stiffen up. So the stiffening isn't once we land. We need to land in an athletic position with a slight bend in our front knee, so that now we can stiffen up and allow the backside to turn and work. And you'll notice again, the backside, we're not spinning on the back foot. Here's the back foot. You can see it's non-weight bearing. It comes off the ground. Those are some really bad circles I just drew. But you can see how the foot is actually gaining ground. And again, he's not trying to do this. He's not thinking pick up the back foot, slide the back foot forward. But when you put a swing, when you put all the things that we've talked about together, it just happens. The weight gets off the backside. So it's a product of being in all these good positions and moving the body at the right time, moving it the right way, allowing yourself to rotate the right way. When it all comes together, this is what you get. So this video has gone on a little bit longer than I wanted to. Hopefully you guys pick up on a couple things here. I'm sorry that I kind of started to go off more than I wanted to. But if you have any questions, let me know. I know I didn't hit on everything that Puig does here. And if you want, go back on our other videos and watch. We have videos on everything. I try to break down as much of the swing as I possibly can. If you would like me to look at your swing and work with you, we do online lessons. Go to our website, touchsmallball.com. You can sign up for lessons on there. I've worked with hundreds of players all over the country with those lessons. So let me know again if you have any questions. Share the video with your friends, like it, subscribe to the channel, comment in the section below, all that good stuff, and we will talk to you later.